Dynamic emails. Best features for e-commerce. In this video, we'll cover the basis on how to create and set up dynamic emails for your e-commerce business. The first thing we'll need to do is to create an email with dynamic product frames. In order to do so, we'll have to proceed to email marketing. We can then proceed to email drag and drop designer. Our goal here is to create a new email with dynamic product recommendation frames widget. To do so quickly, let's use one of our pre-made templates. We'll replace one of the widgets with the dynamic product frame. It will then set up the maximum amount of products displayed in the frame. And set up which product fields we would like to display, as well as the formatting of each field. We can also add a static frame. With this setup, we can manually control some of the recommendations in our e-commerce emails. Once we have set up our dynamic frame and the rest of the email, we can then save the email itself and create an automation process to send the email. To do so, let's go to Automation Processes and create a new automation rule. One most common example of an e-commerce solution through email marketing is to set up an abandoned cart email. To do so, we'll need to start with the event, detecting if a contact has received a new external event. The event that starts the process of sending an abandoned cart email is an event cart, which indicates that a user has added new product or products into their cart. Before we send the abandoned cart email, we want to give the user some time to make their purchase before we consider the cart abandoned. To do so, we have to delay checking the condition by a small amount of time. Typically, we want to give the contact at least an hour to make their purchase before we consider the cart abandoned. The condition we'll be looking for is if the contact has made a purchase recently. If the contact has put a product in their cart, but purchased the product, that does not mean that the cart has been abandoned. However, if the contact has added a new product into their cart, and after an hour have not made a purchase, we can consider that cart abandoned and send the email. We want to check for purchase, and if we do not detect a purchase event in the time span since the product was added to the cart, we want to send an abandoned cart email. For this, we'll need the action send email after abandoned cart. In the action settings, we'll be able to determine which of the emails with the dynamic frame we would like to send, which data source we will be pulling the product information from, and if we want to add a time delay between the action and the actual action of sending the email. Typically, we'd recommend sending the email immediately after the waiting period. In the general settings, we also want to make sure that the rule doesn't run too often. This is to prevent the email being marked as spam. If a contact receives an abandoned cart email once every 5 days, typically that will not be a cause for alarm. However, if the contact is a frequent shopper, we want to make sure that they don't receive an abandoned cart too often. We can change the setting of the interval between the amount of times that the rule can activate. For example, in this case, the rule can activate a total amount of 3 times. However, the activations cannot be closer than 3 days apart. Common solution are emails after visit. For this strategy, we'll need a different action. In the Elements panel, we want to look for Send Dynamic Email using a scenario. This action block allows us to send non-abandoned cart emails that include a product recommendation. From the Choice Scenario menu, we can specify what products will be included in the dynamic frame. It can be products of the same category as recently viewed, same category at similar price, same category on discount, same brand and similar price, and same brand on discount. In this case, we want to use the scenario for products of the same category. To configure the rest of the rule, we'll have to determine when we want to send this email. Typically, we would want it after a product has visited a specified URL. For this, we'll need the contact visited URL event, specify the website and the sub URL, and the time the contact has to spend on that specific URL. We also want to specify that the contact has not made a purchase. Perhaps they didn't find the product they were looking for. So, maybe another product of the similar brand may interest them. For this, we want to make sure that the contact has not made a purchase. And perhaps make sure that the contact is not part of a custom non-mailing list. This gives us an option to not send this email if the contact is part of a segment. For more information, you can visit our help page at support.salesmanago.com.